So, you're dreaming of chickens, gardens, and wide open spaces. Before you dive in, let me share these 5 questions that you should be asking yourself before you get started. Hi, I'm Becky, and I help busy moms just like yourself start their dream homestead without being overwhelmed. And if this is your kind of vibe, make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss out on any of my other videos. Let's get into it. Question number 1. Why do you want to homestead? I feel like this is something that obviously everyone should be asking themselves, but maybe don't consider it when you get the idea of wanting to homestead. And having a strong why will definitely help you in the long run when you start having bad days, because you will have bad days as humans. We generally have bad days, but when you're constantly learning and constantly trying new things, there will be more failure than like your average Joe that's not learning new things all the time and not trying new things. And it's important to have a strong why so you can come back to it when you have those hard days. So you're not just wanting to throw in the towel, sell off all the chickens you just got and be done with it and go back to the store for buying eggs if they have them. And there's a lot of different reasons why people get into homesteading. Is it for self-sufficiency because you want to be closer to the land? You don't want to be relying on the grocery store. The prices are sky high. There are a lot of different things that motivate people, and knowing your why is very important. And while I did a previous video about how I think homesteading is trending right now or how it's popping off, it's important to remember that this isn't just a trend that comes and goes. This is something that people have been doing for thousands of years, for generations. People pass it down to their children to learn how to live more self-sufficiently and to live off the land. And this is definitely a lifelong journey. It's not something you just try for a month and see how it goes. Question number 2. How much time can you realistically give to homesteading? Now, when you first start out, it will take some time because there's going to be a learning curve. There always is when you start something new, right? So while at first it may take a chunk of time out of your day, overall, in my opinion, it doesn't take a lot of time, especially depending on what you're getting into. I've talked about before how there's so many different aspects to homesteading, so many different areas that you can get into, and it's really up to you to pick and choose what you're most interested in and what is going to benefit you and your family the most. But after you get the hang of it, it doesn't take that much time out of your day. It doesn't necessarily take all day to homestead. I work full time. I have 3 kids, and I still have a full-fledged homestead. And while some days, some seasons are busier than others, my day-to-day routine does not take me a lot of time because I'm organized and I have routines set in place that work well for me and my family. Now, if it was a little bit chaotic and I didn't do the same thing every day, or I didn't have a method to my madness, then it probably would take me a lot more time to get certain things done. So it does take a certain skill, I guess you could say, of organization to make sure you're getting things done. And I have another video on that as well. But the point is that it doesn't take a whole lot of time in the long run. Yes, the more things that you add on to your homestead, more animals that you get, more things that you plant, it will take time. Like I said before, everything takes time when you're just learning, but the more you learn, the faster and better you get, more experienced you get at it, and it doesn't take as much time, and you're going to want to add on more things. You're going to want to get more animals, and you're going to want to plant more things. So at first, yes, you will be spending some time learning these new aspects of homesteading, whether it's gardening, vermiculture, your basic composting, all these different things, all the different animals that you can get. They take an investment of your time. So make sure you're willing to give it before you dive in. Question number 3, budget. Now, homesteading doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but it can break the bank if you're not careful. There are things in the long run that you are going to have to invest in. If you're going with animals, you're going to have to invest in good shelters and fencing. You're going to add on a feed bill. It's going to be like a utility bill. Do you pay for water, electric, all that jazz? You're going to have to be paying for feed weekly, monthly, and you're going to have to budget for that. The starting costs of all of it can add up if you're not careful. So make sure you're budgeting accordingly, because you don't want to, I talk over and over and over about not getting overwhelmed in your mindset with adding all these different things, learning all these different things. You don't want to be financially strained and overwhelmed either. So that's why I'm always stressing to always start small, making sure that you're adding on a little bit at a time, not just for yourself, but also for your bank account, because you shouldn't be going broke homesteading. Well, yes, so there will be investments with certain things that you just can't avoid. There are ways that you can still accomplish your dreams without going broke. Question number 4, what resources do you have? What do you have available to you to start your homestead? Are you an apartment? Is it something where you are growing microgreens and sprouts and herbs in your windowsill? Do you have a backyard that you could have a small compost, or maybe you just have a tote in the corner of an apartment with vermiculture, to start? Do you have a small bit of land and want to put some pigs on it, or maybe a cow? Do you have acres and acres and maybe some orchards? All these different things will be different. Every homestead journey will be different for each person. And it really depends upon you, what you're willing to learn, what you want to learn, and what you have to work with. Because I'm always preaching, work with what you have and start now, right? So just because you live in a suburban area, or because you live in an apartment or a condo, doesn't mean you can't start some of these different aspects of homesteading. There's a lot of things there are a lot of things that you can still do in small areas. There's no reason you can't learn how to can. You can learn how to ferment. You can do vermiculture. You can learn to be making more homemade, like breads and jams and muffins. All those kinds of things you don't need space for. And there are still animals, livestock that you can get in small areas. You can still have chickens or rabbits. Just make sure that you're checking your local laws and ordinances, your local laws and regulations. We don't want anyone getting a ticket or a fine just because they weren't in the know. But you need to work with what you have and start just a little bit at a time. It's okay if you only have a sunny windowsill to start. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Or if you just have a balcony, there are a lot of people that are super successful having a balcony garden and learning how to do vertical gardening or container gardening. You can be successful in small spaces too. But if you have all the acreage, then you have a little bit more leniency on what you can or what you want to do, and just make sure that you're working with the land, with the seasons, and figure out a plan. But always start small. I'll start with a couple animals or one type of animal before you move on to the next. Question number 5. Are you ready to just keep learning? Because like I said, homesteading has so many different aspects to it. It would be really hard to become a master at all of them in any certain amount of time. This is something, like I said, this is a lifelong journey, and starting small, getting comfortable with a small garden, with certain plants, certain herbs, knowing how to harvest them, what you can do with them, how to grow them. Is it inside or is it outside? Is it in the soil, aquaponics? There's so many different things just with gardening that could take up a whole year's worth of knowledge if that was the only thing you learned about. And then you have livestock, all the different types of livestock. What do they eat? What kind of shelter do they need? What kind of illnesses ail them? How do you take care of them? Do you have a vet nearby? Are you going to have to take care of them first aid wise? Like, all these different things add up. And then you add in all these other aspects to homesteading, like composting and vermiculture and fermentation. Canning is a whole ball game all on its own. There are so many different things. So just having an open mindset and having a growth mindset is definitely necessary. And remember that you will continue to learn. And that is something I definitely enjoy with homesteading, is because I'm always learning something new, and it's just never ending. And I enjoy that. Homesteading will be a lot of trial and error. Remember, there are a lot of people here on YouTube that are willing to teach you. There are a lot of blogs out there, a lot of online knowledge, a lot of books that you can get in libraries, borrowing, or if you want to go to your bookstore. And there are a lot of Facebook group communities that you can join to be asking questions or simply just be a quiet bystander. And that's how I started. And that's what I still do, honestly, when I'm learning something new. Like right now, I'm following a whole bunch of beekeeping. I don't know anything about, okay, I know a little bit about beekeeping, and I am not ready to add a beehive to my homestead, but maybe in the future, maybe 5 years or so, because I already have a lot going on, but I want to make sure I'm completely ready before I go through and buy all the supplies and try to take care of these bees. There's a lot of things that I need to know so I can learn how to take care of them. So I am in Facebook groups and I am watching all these people, ask their questions. I'm watching people with their setups. I'm watching them harvest their hives. I'm watching them take care of their bees. And that helps benefits me. So besides me like buying books or doing my own online research, I'm having this firsthand knowledge from other people that already own bees. And that helps me learn too, hearing it from other people besides just reading it. I think it's a great idea. Why do you want a homestead? How much time can you realistically give? Budget, budget, budget. What space and resources do you have? And are you ready to keep learning? Tell me your answers down in the comments to these 5 questions. And let me know if there's any other questions that you think beginner homesteaders should be asking themselves before they dive in. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if this is your kind of vibe. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye.